Shane was one of the best things that ever happened to us. We were just...
Over the moon.
Yeah, he was just a blessing, and he always has been. And I think it's just that was the beginning of our life. I think Shane started our life, and it was, I can't even put into words the extraordinary journey that we've had with Shane. So Shane was loved by everyone, and my sister, then at 7 months old, he was 7 months old and I went back to work. So my parents looked after him and my sister. They spoiled him because I worked. I spoiled him because I worked. So basically, this kid was loved in every angle, grandparent-wise, auntie and uncle-wise, everybody just... And he wasn't a spoiled kid, not a nasty kid in any way. Never ever talked back or anything. He was just a loving, appreciative, a kid that was so grateful for everything. And so it was easy for you to give him because he was always so grateful. So you'd give him more.
I always say I'm thankful for my upbringing, because I think growing up in that area, it did make you a little bit street smart. It did make you a bit aware of who's out there and what can happen. And I didn't put mum and dad through hell, but being the oldest child, they probably experienced a little bit too much, so. It would have been grade 6, so yeah, probably about 11, 12. I don't know, I just gravitated to the physicality of footy, so I liked it. And then once I started playing it and realised I was half good, I'm just that kind of person. I get kind of a bit obsessed with something and then I just go for it, and that was it. I went from literally 1 year running around on my push bike, riding around and being a little riff rat on the street, and then the next year all I worried about was my training, what I was eating. I started to really get conscious about high performance literally as soon as I started footy.
The dedication that you have was pretty strong, and because you're all sort of going through the same stuff, you don't necessarily understand it then, but his commitment, from local footy through the ranks where he played, TAC Cup and the Big Metro and all the rest of it, he was levels above everyone else.
At 14 years old, he gets up every single morning, just on his own. We don't even have to get him up or nothing.
I've never woke him.
And he goes out with his hoodie on and just goes and do his 4 or 5Ks, you know what I mean?
Sometimes it'd be a swim. I'm a poor swimmer, but I'd try to bash out a 5 kilometre swim in the pool, go for a run, go for a ride, and then it might be skills. Sometimes I train 3 hours before school.
When he used to have spares at school, he's at the gym.
My dad used to pick him up every day, take him, pick him up. My dad always crack it for having to pick him up and take him to the gym, but they did it for him, Like anything he wanted fitness-wise, my dad was always there to support him,
Played footy, school footy, and again, I told Dad to come and watch, and he didn't think he probably thought I was just average like the year before, and it was absolute domination. I think I kicked, might have been like 14 goals in a school footy game, and my school teacher went to Dad and said, look, you got to play him in some footy. He's probably one of the best junior footballers I've ever seen.
He was good. I've got to be honest, not because he's my son,
He was
but
passionate.
he was very passionate,
something about
very
him
good.
getting into that
He's,
dirt. To watch him play was like an art form. It was so exciting and exhilarating. Like this kid would go into the ground, come out of the ground with the ball, and I'd be like, but then, I'm going to be honest, he got to a certain age I couldn't watch anymore. As a mother, I would just ring and say, are they hurt? Is he hurt? No. Well, that's all I want to know. I don't really care whether you lost or you. I just want to know. I know how hard they went, and it was like 2 cars crashing then.
Look, I gave myself every opportunity, but I got to 17 and I got cut from Western Jets purely because they didn't see me developing any further. The letter they wrote me was purely they couldn't see me getting drafted. So it was a waste to put me on their list, pretty much. And that it gutted me. Like I remember driving home in the car, crying, bawling my eyes out. It was like someone died, to be honest.
All the people on the outside believed that Shane had what it took to go all the way. But at the end of the day, and Shane says this today, if it's not for him, it's not for him. And you find your next you find your next way of life, and you find your next dream, and that's what he's doing today.
When you take something like that so seriously and you commit fully to it, right? So, what tends to happen in the footy space, you've got 99% of kids that all want to play AFL. 99% of kids won't necessarily do what the 1% are going to do. And he was in that 1%, and it was just unfortunate that, the way that he works, they know what they're looking for in particular. It's an athlete as opposed to someone that's a natural footballer. So, it hit him pretty hard. And you can sort of remember at the time him getting pretty upset about it. But he just put all his efforts into, obviously, his PTing work, besides his little stint at being an unsuccessful Sparky. Just a terrible Sparky, I don't know. Couldn't wire up a house to save his life.
I didn't know what I wanted to do after school. It was kind of, okay, I guess I got to do a trade. I'm not going to go to uni. There wasn't really anything in fitness. You could have studied sports science back then, but it led you to nowhere. It was just one of those things where my dad, being the old school guy he was back then, he just wanted the best for me, and he just said, look, you're going to do a trade, you're going to be a Sparky, that's how it is, go find a job. I think it would have been around 2006. I'd helped so many of my friends get into shape, and I had this little gym set up at home at Mum and Dad's, and I'd have friends come in and train, and I'd start them, they'd come in looking like nothing, and then in 3 or 4 months they'd walk out thinking they're 10 men. And people would ask him, how did you get the way you do? And I'm training with Shane, and everyone's like, isn't he a Sparky? How's he getting you in this shape? And I didn't know much about nutrition. It was just hard training then. It would have been about 2007. The ads were coming on radio. Get your PT course, Australian Institute of Fitness, and that stage I'd met my wife now, Kat, and she said, if you're not enjoying being a Sparky, why don't you be a PT? And it was like, my dad's not going to accept that. It was always about, I didn't want to upset my dad.
I wanted him to have a trade.
I wanted to have a trade, you know what I mean? And he proved me wrong. I've said that, you know what I mean? Right?
I told you.
And he's proved me wrong, but I wasn't too impressed at all about
Because
him,
I'm more
about
artistic.
him from being a Sparky, being his personal trainer. I said, what a waste, you know what I mean? That's what I said.
So, lucky enough, my boss at the time, he retrenched a lot of guys. He didn't get a contract that he was hoping to get. So he let go 5 of us, and he just kept himself and his brother. And that was the biggest blessing for me. I probably would have still been a Sparky now if that didn't happen. The course came to $7,000. I didn't have no money to my name. So Kat said, I'll give you the money. She didn't say I'll lend it to you, she said I'll give you the money. But you do this course, you make sure you make the most out of it. And I said, mate, don't worry. You won't have to work one day. That's just, as soon as she done that, it was it. Having her back me in like that when I didn't feel I had a lot of people backing me at that stage. Obviously I'll always refer back to Dad because he was just the old school mentality, but wanted me to do something that was just play it safe, go to work, provide, have a good trade behind you, do something I didn't do. But her saying, no, you don't have to do that. You can do what you want to do, and I'll back you in. For me, that was massive. That was huge. Those that know me know I had a gym that went south. Not because it wasn't, it wasn't doing well financially or anything like that. It was just a clash of heads. I had a few business partners and we just weren't getting along, and it was just a ticking time bomb. And it took the passion away from what I really love to do, and it was help people. And I started to think about business more than the business itself, which is helping people.
It was a hard time for everyone, even on the outside, even for my parents, looking from the outside in that sense.
We're looking at a man with a wife and a child that had gone down. And I said, you pick yourself up. I don't even know how we even mustered the words together to say, if bad comes to worse, you come back with us. You got us. You've got a support system you always have. And slowly, I don't know how, this kid felt like he was coming. You know, when, like I said, when they're small, you pick them up. But I felt like he was in a deep hole and we couldn't get him. We couldn't get him. I felt like I couldn't get him. And I'm a very...
Eventually got out?
He did.
The way he fell and he bounced back up again, that was amazing. That was amazing because I don't know what I would have done.
We were shattered. We were shattered for him, but we didn't show him. Oh, he's going to know now. But we didn't show how shattered we were.
I invested a lot of money into that place and lost a lot of money when I left. But you look back and I'd say that would be the hardest time of my life. That I put my wife through, my family through, my mum and dad, my brother, my close friends. I put them through a lot.
He's a good dad. Yeah, he's always, his girls are always in that gym with him, wanting to exercise, and you always see videos of him, photos. He's a good husband. Always wants the best for his family. He does all this for them. It's all for them.
Oh, I don't know why I got 3 girls, but I always say to everyone, I do what I do because of them. So if I don't think if I had kids, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I don't think I'd be pushing myself to that level. You want to give them every opportunity. So for me, I think having girls, it's tamed me down, it's softened me up. I've surpassed the point where I didn't think I would go, and that's just getting started now. Now a new level is starting to begin. So to stay where you are, I don't sit still. Like, you just got to keep on moving. And for me, like, I've already got plans in place for the next 18 months. I always look forward, as in not where I will be, but where I plan to be. So if I don't get there, that's all good. But as long as I'm on the right track to getting there, maybe down the line I'll have another gym of some sort, studio-based or gym. The world is in my hands at the moment because I'm having a crack, and that's it. That's all you can do.